All right, I'm back. I had so much fun doing the MPP-10 Optimus Prime review that I thought I would do another one for you. I'm probably not going to make this a regular thing, but I have a couple Transformers I've purchased. I've been on a big Transformers kick, and so I just kind of want to keep going over those a little bit. So yeah, well, let's get started. So, you know, there recently has been a Power of the Primes line of toys. I really wanted a Rodimus Prime. I didn't want a masterpiece. My favorite thing of Rodimus Prime was the transformation of him going from Hot Rod to Rodimus. So that doesn't really show in the cartoon / the most of the toys because, I mean, the voice changes in the face and a couple things and he gets a little bit bigger, but there was never any big difference, and that always bothered me because when you see Orion Pax turn into Optimus Prime, there's a big difference there. So this Power of the Primes line that has come out recently, some of the toys are hard to come by. Usually when I go, it depends on where you live, but most of the ones that I've seen there have been a lot of Starscreams and things like that. But I went to Target a couple months back, and my Target had a Power of the Primes Optimus Prime and a Power of the Primes Rodimus Prime. And I was really kind of debating on which one I wanted first. I couldn't buy both. They're about $45, $50, so they're a little steep at times. But I wanted to get something different. I had the MPP-10. I really wanted to get a Rodimus. So this is the Rodimus Prime. I'm actually going to show you the box first. So this is what you would see. Basically, this just has some really cool features. I didn't think I would like this toy as much as I did. It comes with a card and a couple things like that. But here he is here. So this is the Rodimus. I don't know how tall he is specifically. He's relatively big. I will say I also did get the Power of the Primes Optimus as well. I did not get him from Target that day because he sold out, and I ended up getting him for a cheaper price, which is great. But I want to jump into this guy because my last video was very long, and hopefully this one won't be. I'm worried it might be kind of long just because he has a lot. There's a lot to this guy. So let's get started. So this is him in his Rodimus Prime mode. When you compare him up against the Optimus Prime, he's the same size. This toy gets a lot of flack. A lot of reviews I've seen, people do not like this guy, but I love him. If you're looking for a Hot Rod or Rodimus Prime that you can just put on your shelf, just so you have him as part of your collection, and you don't want to spend a ton of money on like a masterpiece figure or anything, this is the guy that you want to go with. In my opinion. He does have some faults. There are some things I don't really care for on him, but it's nothing that bothers me to an extent of I don't like the toy. One thing that is kind of annoying is this backpack he has. It's very big. It really sticks out. It's hard to put him on a shelf when you want to keep them kind of flush with each other and things like that. But that's one thing that's not a huge deal. The other thing is stickers. These stickers are already coming off, and they're really annoying. I'll probably eventually rip them off just because they're going to get gross and they're not going to last. His posability is kind of awkward. When he came out of the box, his legs up here, or his arms, were turned funny, so I couldn't move it up and down, but I can do that now. You can pose him fairly well. I love how he has ball joints on his feet, so they can kind of bend anywhere you want him, so he can kind of bend his legs. And it feels like he doesn't have a whole lot of range in his legs, but it's because of his little cod piece here. You can pull that up, and then you can move his leg a lot more and pose him how you want. So I'm just going to get right into transforming him. He has 3 transformation modes. Because obviously there's Hot Rod, and then there's Hot Rod's car, and then there's Rodimus, and then the Winnebago. So that all happens here. This is a very interesting design choice of how to do this. It's kind of awkward looking, but it's cool to be able to do it because not a lot of Hot Rods and Rodimuses can transform the way this one does. So we'll take his gun out and we'll get started. So what you want to do is his arms actually pop off. They just have little pegs in them. And that's the weird thing for me is I don't like taking pieces off of a character to transform him, but I mean, it's fine. So you take his arms off, and then literally you just pull this whole thing up like that. And there is his matrix. It kind of sits in like that. And then, as you can see, Hot Rod's like squatting on the rest of Rodimus. He's like, it looks weird, I know. But you just pull him off of this peg, this little peg here. And it's kind of tough, but he just comes off like that, and he just has pants pretty much or legs. We'll set this aside for now, and we'll take a look at Hot Rod. Now, the Hot Rod is my favorite part of this. I'm just going to transform him because I'm not really going to show how to do it. It's pretty self-explanatory when you have the instructions and when you look on YouTube. This one I didn't have any problems with. But oh shit. I just pulled his arm off. But it's on a ball joint, so it just snaps back in. There we go. Hot Rod is probably just like I would say with the Optimus Prime or Orion Pax is probably my favorite part of this. He just looks awesome. He looks almost perfect. I'll show you here in a second. I'm almost done. He does not take long to transform whatsoever. So here's your Hot Rod. As you can see, he's significantly smaller, obviously. I really like that about him. He's very posable. He's very, he just looks really good. The one complaint people have is the blue here of his windshield from the car mode. What some people have done, if you want to pose him, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I just do it like this. But if some people are bothered by this, I've seen a couple fan modes where this just is on like a slider. So you can actually slide this off, and it just slides in right here. And you can see Rodimus' head. But what you can do is there's a little peg up here that you peg into, even regularly, but you can just make it into kind of a backpack. It looks bad from the back, but if you're going to pose him up front and you don't want to see the window sticking out, you can do that. And he looks great. But I don't care about that. It doesn't bother me, so I just leave it how it's supposed to be. And I just leave him like this. So with his gun, which is really cool, this is the Rodimus Prime gun. You can actually pull it apart, and then you can have two guns for a Hot Rod if you want. I think that's just like a cool little touch to make it kind of fun. Let me transform him into car mode real quick. Like I said, any of this kind of stuff, any of the Hot Rod stuff is very easy to transform. It's not difficult at all. I remember when I first picked him up, I was very overwhelmed with how many steps there were to do all of these parts. But once you do it, 2 or 3 times, it's pretty simple and it's fun. One thing I've really noticed about this guy, over all of my other Transformers I have, I cannot put him down. I constantly want to mess with him and change him and transform him back and forth just because he's really fun to transform. Even over the Optimus Prime, the Power of the Prime's Optimus Prime. But here's the car mode. Like I said, see, while I was talking, I just did it. It doesn't take long at all. Car looks really good. It all pieces together very well. Here's underneath what you see. But it rolls. It looks good. Just this alone, this hot rod, and then car mode is worth the price because it's super solid. It doesn't feel very cheap for the price. It looks great. You could have this and you wouldn't need anything else, and you'd have a good piece for your collection, I would say. So this is the first part of the Winnebago as well, obviously, because the Winnebago kind of comes in and just like the trailer for Optimus. So we're already partially on our way to transforming into the Winnebago. So I'm going to get started on that now. We'll set this so you can see it right here. This part can get kind of tricky at times, and it feels like you're going to break it every now and then. But once you do it multiple times, it's not that hard. There aren't really any things that I need to let you know about. One thing is, actually, there is one. When you fold his legs, you're supposed to fold his legs down like this, right? And then you peg these together. This comes down, and then this comes down. You want to make sure that this joint, because it can swivel, you want to make sure that it's not sitting crooked. You want to make sure it's completely flat and flush with the top. Otherwise, when you bring these pieces forward, this won't stay together. So that's all I really, because I remember there was a night, I mean, first time I did it right, and then I did it another time and I could not get it together. The one tricky part of this too is this is where his arms come back in. There's two little pegs that the arms go together on, and they don't really stay together. They're supposed to kind of stay in like this, but you got to kind of hold them together while you put this in. So this can get kind of tricky because you got to slide it in and push it forward. I've done it enough now that it's not really a huge issue, but when I first started and when I first did it, it did take me a little bit of time to get it kind of figured out. So don't worry if you're struggling with it, because that's just this isn't a masterpiece figure. This isn't something that is all that perfect. It's just supposed to be fun. So, but it just comes together like that. So now literally all you do is there's just a peg here, and then there are two pegs in the back that into the knees that you stick him in, and you just kind of line them up. And the other thing you want to kind of do, because it bothered me, is when you get him all pegged in, you want to make sure you lay him down and line up the wheels, like have him pushed down. This doesn't have to be 100% pegged in, because if you do that, he looks funny. It looks like the car's kind of, see how it's kind of angled up? I may not be able to get it perfect this time around just because it takes a little bit of time. All you do now is you want to make sure that the pistons on the car part are pulled forward, kind of like how they're supposed to be before you transform it into the car. So these just kind of come up. And then you just pull these tabs, these black tabs around on each side right here. Now, one thing that they have you do is they want you to take this piston, and there's a peg here, and you want this to kind of fold over the front right here. I just don't worry about it because it's a pain to line up correctly. It takes forever. It gets frustrating. And all you do is you just move these down, and it looks fine without even doing that, even from a distance when you're modeling it off, whatever. So here's the Winnebago mode. I think it looks pretty classy. They have these like things you can get off eBay that will be fillers, so they can fill in where the fists are up here, where his shoulders are when he's Rodimus Prime, get filled in that way. I don't bother with that. I think it looks fine the way it is. The other cool thing about this is with this gun, if you want, you can kind of do what you want with it. But the thing I do is you pull it apart, and there's these little holes at the top, and they can go in on the top like this. So everything kind of stays together. There's nothing, the thing that I don't like about certain Transformers is when they're pieces you remove and they don't have any place to put them. There are some that I've seen where like you have a weapon, or you have a, I mean, even the MPP-10 Optimus Prime, when he's in truck mode, you have a place for his gun and you have a place for his Matrix, but you don't have a place for his Ion X. So you got, I don't, that bothers me. I like being able to keep everything in one spot all together. But, so yeah, this is his Winnebago mode, and it rolls. It looks great. Like I said, these stickers are already starting to come off. I'm sure there are stickers you can get that are either better or paint. You can do someone can paint them, whatever. But that's just a nitpick. Like I said, a lot of people don't care for this figure. A lot of people feel like it isn't the best and it's ugly. That's a lot of major collectors. I'm not a huge major Transformer collector. All I am is just a casual. I liked the show. I liked certain parts of the movies, and I wanted some G1 stuff, and I just wanted my favorite characters, and I didn't care what capacity I got them in. So if you're one of those people, this is a perfect one for you. If you're someone who is a purist who collects toys and you want them all to be to the same scale and you want them all to do that, this may not be for you. You may want to get some kind of masterpiece and spend more money, but I really enjoy this guy. I'm really happy I got him. Like I said, I cannot stop putting him down. I can't stop messing with him. He's just so much fun to transform back and forth and just to do all the different things. He really caught me by surprise when I got him. I did not expect to enjoy him as much as I do. So that is Rodimus. If you have any questions, leave comments down below. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'm trying to make it a little bit faster this time around. So that's it. Thanks a lot.